phenomenon that now around the world, because we've deregulated global trade, countries are importing and exporting the same product. And here we have a shortage of fossil fuels, we have pollution from fossil fuels. We should be doing the opposite. We should be reducing the export and import to only do it when it's necessary. And that would mean localizing or diversifying production so that we meet more of our needs at home, particularly in food. Food is something that everybody needs every day, and most people would like it as fresh as possible. So there is a grassroots movement asking for this, but at the moment the policies are actually taking us in the opposite direction. The US, for instance, exports 900,000 tons of beef and turns around and imports about 900,000 tons of beef. The UK exports as much milk and butter as it imports, and we're talking about importing and exporting plastic waste, water, wheat in huge quantities. It's madness. In the 70s, a lot of people were aware that we needed to look at policy change to promote, for instance, renewable energy instead of fossil fuels, to promote organic agriculture instead of toxic agriculture. But now what's happened is that because of deregulating global trade and finance, there's been so much money promoting more global trade, global technology, speed, large scale, and it has influenced the thinking towards just focusing on the consumer and asking the consumer to buy the right product. And the right product is always more expensive because we're subsidizing the other products. My experience was to go out to a part of the world called Ladakh or Little Tibet that had not been affected by either colonialism or development. And I found there that there was no unemployment, there was no poverty as we know it, and the people were the happiest I had ever encountered. They were also among the healthiest I'd ever encountered. And then I saw how with the opening up to the global economy, suddenly unemployment was created because subsidized products came in on subsidized roads, selling for half the price of local products, and how the destruction of the local market led to unemployment. At the same time, I saw how role models in the media made children feel that they were backward, stupid, and ugly, and that you had to be a white urban consumer to be somebody. And I saw how this leads to violence and unhappiness. I mean, one of the great paradoxes that we need to think about is that while global players like McDonald's, Walmart, Monsanto are being deregulated, having more freedom to move in and out of national economies, local businesses are being overregulated. And I mean really stupidly overregulated, like especially in farming. Suddenly they have to have all kinds of expensive equipment in the name of health and hygiene that are actually meaningless, because buying new stainless steel equipment and having tiles in your ceiling doesn't mean that you're keeping things cleaner. So, and we have within the whole food area, even the computer label saying that food has to be thrown away after a certain date is a tremendously wasteful and stupid regulation, and is all about the needs for big business. So I think that small is beautiful because I'm talking about a scale that's a human scale. I'm talking about the way that human beings can, with their intelligence and experience, see and feel and interact with each other and with nature in a way that machines can't do. And I also am talking about a human scale as being a human pace. Everything through technology is getting so fast that people don't have any time. We're running after the machinery. We're trying to be productive competing with the machine. If we return to human scale, we would also be returning to human pace. And I think that not only is that more beautiful, but it's also more satisfying, it's more happy. What are the biggest social and ecological? Yeah, I think the biggest social and ecological problems facing us right now are the CO2 emissions and global warming on the one hand, and unemployment on the other hand. Now the wonderful thing is that if we could see the bigger picture and see how we subsidize business to use more technology and more energy instead of employing more people, we would see that we can solve both unemployment and pollution by shifting towards localizing and having more regional economies, smaller scale, that employ more people and where we use less energy. So you buy where labor is cheap and you sell where people are earning $100 a day or more, and on the other side of the world they're only earning $1 a day. So that whole system goes back hundreds of years. And the influence of big business has been huge all along, but particularly in the last 30 years through trade treaties. And right now there are new treaties being negotiated that will make it even worse, where we in effect have rule by big banks and corporations. And it's not that the people in those are bad, it's that they are too big to deal with the human scale, to deal with the diversity in a meaningful and ecological way. Well, my conclusion is that in order to see why we got so many problems today, and in order to see that almost all the problems we have are connected to the economy, we need to step back and to have the big picture. We need to change the economic system. And I just hope that people will realize how much they have to gain personally, for their children, for the environment, and that there's a sort of win-win-win strategy if we make shifts to the economic system instead of just trying to protect this or protect that or work for the poor or for the aged or to regain democracy. There's so many issues and we can feel completely overwhelmed and it can feel like, oh, it's just too much. But actually, when you look at the bigger picture, then you see where the strategic areas are to focus.